They never thought their dream home would become a prison. It started as the perfect neighborhood. Wide streets, manicured lawns, families waving at each other. But what no one talks about is how everything began to change. Slowly, quietly, until it was too late. Amanda and her husband Dave moved into a quiet suburban community called Meadow Pines. They were young, hopeful, expecting their first child. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but the HOA there, it wasn't just strict, it was something else, something darker. At first it was little things, a letter about their trash bin being visible for too long, then a fine, then another. Their grass was half an inch too long. A flower pot not HOA approved. They laughed it off, until the fines added up to thousands. Amanda tried to reason with them. She went to the office, just a single room in the clubhouse. There, she met Mr. Halloran, the HOA president. He wore a suit like he was running a bank, not a neighborhood. Cold eyes, no smile. He said, "You agreed to the rules when you signed. We're only enforcing what you already accepted." "But no one explained any of this to us," she said. "That's not my problem," he replied. From there, things escalated. One night, Dave noticed a car parked outside their house for hours. The next day, their mailbox was gone, taken. HOA claimed it violated uniformity rules. A $300 fine. They felt trapped. And they weren't alone. Amanda began speaking with neighbors, quietly, carefully. Most were too scared to say much. But one woman, Marie, was different. She whispered, "They control everything here. People who fight back, they leave. Or worse." Amanda didn't understand. Worse how? Maria didn't answer. She just pointed to the old Simmons house. He left in the middle of the night. Never told anyone why. Dave wanted to move. "This place is toxic," he said. But they'd already sunk all their savings into the house. And now, with the fines stacking up, selling wasn't an option. Then one morning, Amanda opened the front door to find a printed photo taped to the handle. It was a picture of her, taken through her living room window. She dropped it. Dave grabbed it, furious. "This is stalking. We're calling the police." But when they did, the officer sighed. "We've had complaints about the HOA before, but they operate within legal limits. It's a civil matter." "What about this?" Amanda held up the photo. "No proof where it came from," he said. "Could be anyone. They were on there." From that day on, everything felt different. Amanda started noticing the same black SUV driving past their house every evening. Her phone buzzed with unknown numbers that hung up immediately. A dog from the next street over was poisoned. People suspected the HOA enforced quiet control in their own way. Maria, the neighbor, knocked one night. She was shaking. "They searched my garage," she said. "I caught someone on my camera, but the footage was wiped." Amanda couldn't believe it. "They can't just break in." Maria nodded. "They can when they claim you're violating storage rules." That's when Amanda had enough. She posted a video on a private community page. She spoke calmly, directly, detailing everything, the harassment, the stalking, the silence. The video spread fast. At first, she got support. Then, it vanished. Deleted, she received a notice the next day. "You are in violation of community decorum and defamation guidelines. You are hereby fined $5,000, she cried for hours. Not because of the money, but because it proved the HOA had more power than she thought. Power to erase, to silence, to control. And then things took a terrifying turn. It happened at exactly 2:13 a.m. Amanda woke up to a loud noise, like something slammed against the side of the house. Dave rushed out barefoot, grabbing a flashlight. Amanda followed, heart racing. There was nothing there, no people, no cars. But the side paneling of their house was torn, scratched, like with a tool. Amanda whispered, "They're trying to scare us." Dave didn't say anything, just looked at the damage, and then at the camera above the garage. Small red light. Blinked. Off. The footage was gone again. The next day, Amanda received an official letter from the HOA. It said they were in violation of community trust and were now under investigation. Not by the police, by the Neighborhood Disciplinary Committee. She'd never heard of that before. The letter ended with, "Your behavior is being closely monitored. Cooperation is expected." Enough was enough. If you're watching this, you need to know this isn't just some HOA horror story. This is real. It's places, these people. They use rules as weapons. They hide behind paperwork and technicalities. They act like they're keeping the community safe, but it's control. Quiet psychological control. If you want to uncover the truth behind more stories like this, don't just watch, subscribe, because what we're exposing next will make this story feel like a warning you didn't listen to in time. Amanda and Spave tried going public again. They contacted a local reporter, sent him everything: pictures, the threats, the fines, the video she managed to save. He said, "This could be something. Let me look into it." 2 days later, Amanda called him back. No answer. Then again. Still nothing. That same evening, Dave opened the door and found a package on their welcome mat. Inside was a USB. No label. No note. He plugged it into a spare laptop. There were clip security footage, not from Amanda's house. It was the Simmons family, the ones who disappeared. The video showed men in HOA uniforms, walking into their backyard at night, opening their gate, cutting their power. One video showed a figure peering into their bedroom window. The last clip was a short one. A voice, it whispered, "Compliance keeps you safe." They both stared at the screen. "In silence," Dave said. "We have to leave. Now." Amanda agreed. But when they tried to list their house, no realtors would work with them. Some didn't return their calls. One finally answered and said, "I'm sorry. Your property is flagged under HOA conflict. No one will touch it until that clears." Could take years. They were trapped. Dave started recording everything, every sound, every night. He backed it up to cloud drives, sent it to friends. They planned an escape anyway, quietly, without alerting the HOA. But that's when Maria, the neighbor who warned them, vanished. Her house was empty, furniture gone, even her car. Amanda knocked, called, nothing. She asked around, but no one admitted to seeing anything. One old man mowing his lawn just said, "She broke too many rules." Amanda asked what rules. He didn't answer. She stepped back, shaken, her heart pounded. The camera on her porch was no longer blinking. Something was happening, something far worse than fines and warnings. The walls felt thinner after Maria disappeared. Amanda stood at her window, staring across the street at the now empty house. Curtains drawn, lights off, not even a for sale sign, just ... Gone. Like she'd never lived there at all. Like the neighborhood swallowed her. She didn't sleep that night. Not out of fear, out of dread. Fear is fast like a jump scare. Dread is slow. It eats you. And it was eating her. Amanda turned to Dave and said, "We need to talk to someone. Someone who's lived here longer. Someone who's survived this place." Dave hesitated. They've all gone quiet. No one's talking. "There's one," she said. "Old Mr. Kellerman. It lived at the far edge of Meadow Pines for 22 years. People called him the last original. His yard was always perfectly trimmed, his blinds always closed, and no one ever saw him at community events. They knocked on his door that morning, no answer. They knocked again. Just as they were about to leave, the door creaked open. Kellerman stood there, thin, pale, his hands trembling slightly. He looked past them and whispered, "You shouldn't be here." Amanda stepped closer. "Please, we need help. I think we're being watched." Followed. "The HOS, they're doing something to people." He stared at her for a long time. Then, without a word, he opened the door wider. Inside was a dark, silent house. Every window was taped with foil. Every door had extra locks. Kellerman led them to the back room, a small den filled with old newspapers, maps, and what looked like surveillance photos. Amanda gasped. One photo showed her house. Another showed Dave mowing the lawn. She turned to Kellerman. "You've been watching us?" I've been watching them, he said. Since 2009, Kellerman sat down and pulled a file from a drawer. You're not crazy. They are watching you. It starts with fines, then letters, then isolation. Hey. If you resist long enough, ... they erase you. Dave laughed bitterly. That's insane. Kellerman didn't blink. How do you think I survived? By playing along. Perfect lawn. No guests, no noise, no questions, Amanda whispered. What happened to Maria? Kellerman opened another file. Keenside were photos of the Simmons family, their house, and documents. HOA notices, complaints, petty violations. Same pattern, he said. They were fined into debt, then shamed publicly, then investigated by the committee. I tried to warn them. They didn't listen. He pointed to a photo of the Simmons family at a block party. It was the last time anyone saw them in daylight. A week later, the HOA claimed they'd voluntarily moved. But the moving van came at 3 a.m. No company name, no records. Dave leaned in. But how do they get away with this? Isn't someone watching the HOA? Kellerman gave a small, tired smile. Who watches the watchers? Explained that the HOA had built legal armor around itself. Every homeowner signed binding agreements, hidden clauses, fine print that gave them the right to enter properties. Under emergency inspections, arbitration rules that blocked lawsuits, and more importantly, non-disclosure penalties. They use your own signature against you, he said. Amanda felt sick. So what do we do? Kellerman paused, then said something that chilled her. You don't fight the HOA, you expose the people behind it. The next night, Amanda couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Maria's face. She kept replaying that last conversation. They searched my garage. So she checked their own. Nothing seemed off at first. Then she looked at the ceiling and noticed. Its small hole, not fresh, covered with a thin layer of paint. But something about it felt wrong. She grabbed a chair, stood up, reached inside. Her hand touched something metal. It was a camera. They had been recording inside her home, without her knowing. She screamed for Dave. He came running, saw the camera, and froze. Jesus. Took it down, placed it on the table. It was wireless, no brand name, just a blank black shell, Amanda whispered. Do you think there's more? Dave nodded. They tore the house apart that night. Found 2 more, one in a vent, one behind. A bookshelf. All aimed at private spaces. It's a bedroom. The living room. They didn't know how long they'd been watched. Amanda sat down, holding her head. We need to go. I don't care if we lose the house. But they couldn't. Because that night, someone knocked on the door. It was 2 men. Suits. Clean-shaven. No names. They held up badges, private security. We're conducting a property compliance check. We have reason to believe unauthorized surveillance equipment has been detected on site. Dave stepped in front. Illegal? You can't come in without a warrant. The taller man smiled politely. This is a community issue. You signed the agreement. Page 12, Section 4A. Amanda shook her head. We never agreed to this. You did? He replied. When you moved in, you refused to let them in. Closed the door, locked it. The men stood outside for 10 more minutes, watching, then they left. Amanda called the police again, but the officer simply said they're within their rights. This is a civil matter. Again, she felt the weight of it, not just fear, helplessness. They were screaming into a void, and no one was listening. Days passed. The house felt darker. Amanda stopped going outside. She turned off her phone. Gosh, every sound made her jump. Dave tried to stay strong, but even he looked different. Tired, wired, always checking the windows. Then a letter arrived. Hand-delivered. Not mailed. It read, Final warning. You are hereby summoned to appear before the Meadow Pines Disciplinary Committee. Failure to comply will result in further action. There was no signature, just a date. The hearing was set for Sunday. At midnight, Amanda showed the letter to Kellerman. He turned pale. They only meet at midnight when they want to make someone disappear. Dave slammed the table. No, we're not going. Kellerman looked at him. You don't get it. If you don't show up, they come to you. That Sunday, Amanda made a choice. She would go. But she wouldn't go alone. She strapped a hidden camera under her shirt. Dave wired a mic. They told Kellerman to monitor everything and call the press if they didn't return in 2 hours. They arrived at the clubhouse just before midnight. The building was dark, except for a faint glow from the back hall. They walked through silence. No sounds, no people. Then they reached the conference room. Inside were 5 people, all wearing suits, all seated behind a long table. Their faces were in shadow. The one in the center spoke. "Please sit." Amanda and Dave sat. The man said, "You have been found in repeated violation of community conduct, including slander, unauthorized surveillance, and digital defamation." Amanda clenched her fists. "You planted cameras in our house." "No," the man replied. "You violated your neighbor's privacy. Our records show 3 unauthorized devices broadcasting data to third-party servers." "That's a lie," recorded a member of the committee. "That is grounds for expulsion." Amanda's voice cracked. "Who are you people?" The lights flickered slightly. Then the man leaned forward. "You don't understand. We're not just enforcing rules. We're preserving order. This community exists because of obedience. If we allowed chaos, what would we become? The outside world." Dave stood up. "We're done here." But before he could move, 2 guards appeared at the doors. Amanda pressed her hidden mic. "Kellerman." The man behind the desk smiled. "You won't be leaving." And that's when the fire alarm went off. Kellerman had pulled it. Outside, the old man waited in his car, engine running. Amanda and Dave burst out of the building and jumped in. They didn't go home. They didn't even grab their things. They drove 4 hours? No destination. It's just away. They reached a motel by sunrise, 60 miles out of town. Kellerman met them at the diner next door. "You triggered them," he said. "You'll never be safe now." Amanda looked at him. "We need to end this." He slid a flash drive across the table. "I've been gathering everything. Documents, footage, names. The only way to win is to bring them into the light. Real light. National media, not local," Dave asked. "But won't they try to stop us?" Kellerman nodded. "Yes, but if it's big enough, they can't." Amanda took the drive. Her hands stopped shaking. She had a plan now. Amanda stared at the flash drive on the diner table like it was a weapon. Because in Meadow Pines, truth was dangerous, and she was holding enough of it to blow the entire HOA apart. Kellerman leaned in. "That drive has everything. Surveillance. Logs, deleted files, internal memos, even recordings of their private meetings." Dave was quiet. "How did you get all this?" Kellerman sighed. "I used to be one of them." Amanda blinked. "You were on the committee." He nodded. "They trusted me years ago. I thought it was just about keeping things tidy. But over time, the rules changed. Got darker. People disappeared. The committee grew quiet and powerful." "You didn't stop it?" Amanda asked. "I tried, pushed back once, and that's when I lost my son." The table went silent. Dave asked softly what happened. "Looked out the window. He lived with me. Young, smart, started asking questions. One day, he filed a complaint about the HOA's budget. The next week, he was gone. They told me he moved. I found his phone in the woods 2 months later." Amanda's hands trembled. That night, they slept in shifts. Every noise outside the motel felt like a trap. Amanda dreamed of shadows and suits, security cameras blinking inside her skin. By morning, Amanda knew what they had to do. They drove 3 hours to a city news station with a reputation for tackling corruption. Amanda walked in, hands clenched, flash drive in her coat pocket. She asked for the investigative unit. She met with a reporter named Malachum. She pied skeptical. "This better not be a neighborhood drama," he said. Amanda just handed him the drive and said, "Watch this." Plugged it in. Footage of the HOA's midnight tribunal played, and video of Maria warning Amanda. The clip of Amanda and Dave being threatened. And then financial records Kellerman had obtained, showing thousands in untraceable spending from HOA accounts, Malik leaned forward, whispering, "Holy hell." It was all real. He nodded. "Give me 2 days." Amanda didn't sleep those 2 days. Neither did Dave, because they knew something was coming. And it did. It started with an email. No sender, no subject, just a message. "This ends now." Then, the motel manager knocked at their door, shaking. "You gotta go. Someone from a property firm came by asking for you. Said you were trespassing." "We paid in cash," Amanda said. "I don't care. I want trouble." They packed in 10 minutes. No direction, just motion. Keep moving. The next 48 hours blurred. Cheap motels, gas station snacks, changing phones. Amanda kept her eyes on the news every hour, and then it broke. A 3-minute teaser on the evening news. Secret society behind HOA rules. Residents speak out against harassment, disappearances, and surveillance clips played of Amanda's testimony. Kellerman's files, blurred faces of past residents who'd fled. Malik's voice saying, what started as a neighborhood disagreement may be hiding something far more sinister. It went viral overnight. Reddit exploded. Twitter threads popped up. YouTube videos analyzing the footage. TikTokers recreating the HOA tribunal scene. News channels picked it up nationwide. Terms like HOA mafia, committee cult, Meadow Pines conspiracy trended. Amanda thought they'd won until they saw the footage. Their house on fire, live aerial shots from local news, flames swallowing the roof, neighbors outside, watching, some crying, some filming, and a single calm HOA representative saying, "It's unfortunate, likely electrical." But the owners had been in violation for weeks. Amanda collapsed to the floor of their motel room. Everything they owned, burned, and no one would be held responsible. 2 days later, Amanda got a message from Malik. He wanted to meet in person, private location. Amanda and Dave arrived at the rooftop of an old library. Malik looked shaken. "They tried to bribe me," he said. "Who?" Dave asked. "A firm claiming to represent the HOA. Offered me double my salary if I shelved the story. Said they'd sue the station if we aired more." Amanda felt it in her gut. "You're going to run it anyway, right?" Malik nodded slowly. "But I need more real names, real links. Enough to file lawsuits, not just shock people." Kellerman had that. They arranged one last meeting. It was dusk when Amanda, Dave, and Kellerman met at an abandoned rest stop off the highway. It was quiet, isolated. Kellerman had a thick folder in his lap. "This has everything. The real committee names. Okay? Their shell companies, the private firms they use. Even property they secretly own under different HOAs." Amanda reached for it, then dash headlights. A black SUV pulled in fast. Too fast, another followed. Doors opened. 5 men got out. Suits the same ones from the night of the tribunal. Dave shouted, "Run!" They sprinted into the woods. Amanda clutched the folder to her chest. Dave behind her, Kellerman slower. One of the men yelled, "Stop! You don't know what you're doing!" But they kept running. Branches tore at Amanda's arms, her breath ragged. She could hear footsteps closer. Closer, then a flash of movement. Dave tackled one of the men. Amanda screamed. She didn't stop running. She heard shouting behind her. Scuffle. Didn't silence. She didn't stop until she reached the road. A trucker pulled over. She jumped in, folder in hand. Sobbing, she left Dave behind. The next morning, she met Malik again. Tears dried on her face. Clothes torn. "I have it," she said. She gave him the folder. He didn't ask what happened in the woods. He saw it in her eyes. 3 days later, the full report aired. Corruption in America's suburbs. The secret power of HOA's names. Documents. Audio clips. Video evidence. Malik laid it all bare, and in the final 2 minutes, Amanda told her story. From the first find to the tribunal, from Maria to the fire, from Kellerman, her to losing Dave. The story swept the country. Lawsuits were filed. Senate hearings opened. Celebrities tweeted. Investigative groups dove into HOA records everywhere. Meadow Pines became a symbol. A warning. Amanda became a face for a cause she never asked for. Weeks passed. No one found Dave. No bodies. No clues. Kellerman vanished too. Amanda lived in hiding, but every night she heard things like tires on gravel, like whispers outside her window. She never returned to Meadow Pines. She never spoke to the news again. But one day, a letter came. No return address. Inside was a photo Dave alive, standing in front of a white building with no signs. Blank expression, distant eyes. On the back, compliance is safety. You can still join them. Amanda stared at it. She burned it, but she kept the ashes, because somewhere out there, in neighborhoods that look perfect, the committee still lives, and someone has to keep telling the story, even if it's the last thing they ever do.